And in the Tyson camp, the term sparring may be a misnomer because everyone is instructed to go all out.
I tell them to go hard. I want you to go out there and fight them. You fight them for 2, 3 rounds, 4, 5. Some of these guys that want to go more rounds, like a Broad, or Ferguson, or whatever, or Jameson, I tell these guys to go out there and fight hard because Michael's fighting hard too.
The idea is to let them fight as hard as possible. This is a fight. You go in there and you fight as hard as possible. You know, my trainer told him, you go in there and you fight. You fight. This is, you know, don't take it easy because he's 18 or he's 17 or he's 20. You go out there and you fight. You fight for your life. Just go out there and fight for your life. And that's just to get ready to fight. That's how come I'm always in shape, because when I fight in the gym, it's a fight. I fight.
Hands up.
And fight he does without a headgear, a somewhat radical precept passed down by Cus D'Amato.
The only time you wear headgear is if you have a problem, if there's something the matter, your ear hurts, or you got a big fight coming up and you had a cut eye, but you got a spot. A headgear gives you a false sense of security. Cus used to say, and it's true. You put a headgear on, you think you can take a shot, you end up taking more shots because you got a headgear on. You don't have a headgear on, you don't want to get hit. Nobody wants to get hit. With a headgear, a fighter feels safe. You say, well, I can take the shot because it's going to protect me, which in the end it doesn't do anyway. So that's the reason for that. I mean, that was Cus's belief, and I was around Cus a long time, and I believe it too. And it shows.
For all his brute force, Tyson is a student of his sport. He works hard on techniques to improve himself. And then he employs them in practice. And these defensive skills have played a big role in his quick rise in boxing, but one that sometimes gets overlooked.
Mike, who has had 38 amateur fights, 28 professional fights, 56 fights, has never had a cut eye, never had a bump on his face, never had a bloody nose. No one ever comments on that. When you towel Mike Tyson off after a fight, you can't tell what his profession is.
D'Amato showed boxing people a unique way of looking at their sport, and he gained the respect and admiration of the people he worked with, including the other man he took to the heavyweight championship.
There'll never be another like Cus. Cus was number one. See, he cared about the fighter, not the money. The fighter. There's a lot of guys out there that care about the fight and the money, but a little more the money than the fighter. But Cus didn't care about money. I've seen him give thousands of dollars away. Right after a fight, sometimes I would fight, and back then I'd get maybe $15,000, and Cus, who got a third of that, a week later he had nothing.
Give me a number so I can call you. If you're available, you let me know.
I've met a lot of people, but there's only one Cus. There'll only be one Cus. I'm honored and happy that I did meet him, because he's much more than boxing. He's a person. I've never met a guy that puts principle ahead of money. You know, America is run by money. It's run by business. Is run by money. Money first. Money first. The big businessmen, they make decisions based on money. How the money. Cus was the principle. What was right and what was wrong, and money meant nothing to him. I've never met anybody like that, and I'm sure I'll never meet anyone else like it.
This is the house Cus and Mike Tyson shared in Catskill, where Mike learned not only how to box, but to become something of a boxing historian as well.
He watches and sees it. And many times I'm sure he recognizes weaknesses in the defense or attack of the others. And all these things register in his mind. And I think all of them contribute, and using his own judgment also as well, to do the kind of things that he feels will enhance and develop his potential too. Together with what I'm able to advise and suggest, I think that it has become what I believe is a winning combination.
Cus used to always talk to me about the situation. He was saying, you know, if you really took a deep interest in it, you would be champ of the world. And he would say, with no problem, you would be champ. Because he's saying, you're just too good for these guys. Even at 14, he's saying, you know, they know more, but you're just too good. I said, really? And I didn't believe him at first, but he just kept pounding that information in me. And by the time I was 14, I began to believe it.
The fighter's got to go in there ready to handle any kind of an opposition that presents itself and do it successfully.
Cus literally raised him in every sense. You might say that teaching him how to fight was almost an insignificant tributary to what Cus gave Mike. Mike Tyson learned all about life from Cus D'Amato. One of the things that Mike learned from Cus, in addition, was how to box.
Cus instilled so many incredible qualities into Mike. Not only made him a great fighter, but a great human being, that he still lives on in Mike.
My goal is just to become a champion, you know what I mean? His goal was making me independent, making me a man. I didn't have to need him anymore, and he used to discuss that all the time.
I think I can predictably say that he will become probably the youngest heavyweight champion of all time, which title is held by Floyd Patterson. I believe he will be the youngest heavyweight champion of all time. And if he remains dedicated, interested, and without any distractions, I believe that eventually he will go down in history as the greatest heavyweight champion we've ever had.
Well, that was in 1985, and Cus D'Amato certainly was a prophet in his first prediction. 15 months later, Mike Tyson would go on to become the youngest heavyweight champion in history. As to that second prediction, well, only the future will tell us that. We do know that Mike Tyson got his chance at the heavyweight title when the boxing world and home box office got together for a heavyweight unification series.
I believe I am the most devastating puncher in the world today. I've faced guys that could knock you out with one punch. And Frank Bruno, Mike Weaver, Tim Witherspoon. Mike Tyson has never faced a guy, an opponent, that can take him out with one punch.
Right.
If I hit Mike Tyson with my best punch, he will go out. There's no doubt about it.
Every man's a problem, you know, every man, no one should be taken lightly, but this is a fight where, as you know, I'm in great shape and I'm ready to fight, and I plan to do my best, and I plan a successful outcome.
Smith will have a big height advantage, and fighters like James Broad and Jesse Ferguson were brought in to spar.
Bonecrusher's tall, and he's a lot taller than me, so therefore Mike's going to have to reach up at him. And that makes it, you know, it takes kind of a little bit of power off your punch when you punch up than it is when you're punching down. Bonecrusher, he'll be punching down mostly. And that'll be to his advantage.
Well, if that's an advantage for Bonecrusher Smith, and it may be, it's one of the few that boxing people see when he steps into the ring with Tyson. Still, he is one of the hardest punchers in the heavyweight division, and that could trouble Tyson. Probably Smith is the biggest puncher that Mike will have faced. But it's hard for me to see Bonecrusher standing at the end of this. I think, like most boxing people, I expect to see 2 or 3 rounds of really exciting action and eventually a Tyson win. And as we close out this look at Mike Tyson, I guess it's appropriate to look to his future. If there is a win against Bonecrusher Smith, what does the future have in store for this young champion? The people that make motion pictures every year have a phrase that's called blue skies. They say we look at the blue skies of our industry. Well, what do the skies have in store for Mike Tyson? I guess he's the only one that can really answer that.
I can't tell you what I'm going to do in my life, you know. It might come to time. I might, you know, right now, you know, I might fall in love with something and get soft and don't want to fight anymore. But, you know, I can't say that now because now, you know, I have nothing on my mind but fighting. I have nothing else to look forward to but fighting. I don't want to be an actor. You know, I like to fight. I don't want to do anything else, but I like to fight.
In November, 20-year-old Mike Tyson became the youngest heavyweight champion ever by knocking out Trevor Birbing.
That was a right to the body and an uppercut to the head, and Birbing is down. It's over. That's all, and we have a new era in boxing.
Then in December in New York City, Bonecrusher Smith destroyed WBA champion Tim Witherspoon.
Witherspoon's still in trouble. Down he goes again, and now it's over.
So, finally, we come to Las Vegas, Nevada to unify the WBA and WBC heavyweight titles tonight on HBO. WBC heavyweight champion Mike Tyson meets WBA champion